Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm going to guide you through today's yin yoga practice. I recommend having two blocks. And let's actually start today's practice standing. So go ahead, find your soles of the feet firmly pressed down to your mat, about hips width distance apart. If you want, you can always have your feet touching. Hips width distance is actually just about two fists width distance. So if you had your feet really wide and they seem to be wider than your shoulders, you're not entirely sure what hips width distance apart is. You can always hinge forward and just measure two fists width distance between your feet. And then take a moment while you're here and start really grounding through your feet themselves. So a little pressure down through your heels, under the ball of your foot by the big toe, pressing down through the pinky toe side as well. And we don't need to be jamming our knees back while we're pressing down through the feet. So there can still be a slight bend in your knees here, but start to engage your legs, a little squeeze of the quads, a little squeeze of the glutes, so that you feel your kneecaps gently lift up. And then from there, squeeze the glutes to press your pelvis forward. And you might even here start to notice some external rotation starting to happen with your thighs. Shoulders relax down away from your ears. Stretch your fingers down towards the floor and really work to create some length through the crown of your head. So on your inhale, some space is being created between each of your vertebrae. And on your exhale, you're just a little bit lighter. Find one spot on the wall in front of you to relax your eyes or simply close them. And take this time, this next minute here, to tune into your breath. On your inhale, notice how you feel. Where do you feel the stretch today? And on your exhale, ask yourself, what can you relax and still enjoy a delightful, noticeable, maybe challenging stretch, but where you're still breathing? And if you want to set an intention for your practice, now is a great time to do so. Whether you have a positive affirmation that you repeat to yourself, thoughts such as, I'm worth it, I'm worthy, I am capable and responsible of creating meaningful and lasting change. Or maybe you're just sending some positive energy, some love, and some light to someone out there that you know who might want or need it. One more slow, relaxed breath here. And then on your next inhale, hands, palms turn forward and come up overhead. Exhale, we're going to relax right hand down towards the floor. Right hand maybe even tracing down your thigh. Stretch your left hand fingers up towards the ceiling. So we're stretching our shoulders apart in two different directions, and your head can be wherever it feels good. So maybe your eye gaze is down towards the floor. Maybe you're still looking towards that wall in front of you, or chin can even stretch up towards your shoulder. Relax your shoulders from your ears. Keep that grounding through your feet, that nice big squeeze of your glutes, and press forward, fingers in opposite directions. One more big breath here, starting off with some slightly shorter stretches. On your next inhale, right arm comes up overhead. Squeeze your glutes, hips drive forward, shoulders away from your ears, and on your exhale, left hand reaches down towards the floor. Shift your hips gently towards the right, working to find that stack of the shoulders on top of each other. Does not need to happen today. And the upper back is pressed against an imaginary wall behind you. Inhale, stretching your right hand fingers up towards the ceiling. Exhale, reaching your left hand fingers down towards the floor. Keep that reach in opposite direction. Keep that squeeze of your glutes. Weight in your heels, shoulders away from ears. So chest is nice and lifted. We've got a couple breaths left to go right here. On your next inhale, stretch that left arm back up towards the ceiling. Draw your belly in, and on your exhale, we're going to rain or swan dive down to the floor. Belly pulled in to keep back feeling good. Fingers reach down towards the floor or to a block. On your inhale, take a half lift. Find length through the crown of your head and into your spine. You can generously bend your knees here. Belly can relax on your thighs, and then exhale, release your head and hairline down to the floor. Make sure your belly and your thighs are still touching. We want to keep your back feeling good. And when you're rounding and the rounding is in your upper back and there's no space for support right here, it can be so tiring. So just that extra bend of your knees to bring your belly and your thighs to touch, to find that flat back. And then your next few exhales, you can relax and release your head and hairline towards the floor. So look between your two big toes instead of towards the wall behind you. When you look towards that wall behind you, it can bring some rounding into your back. Alternatively, think about pulling your chest down and forward, chest sternum reaching down towards the floor instead of that extra rounding in your upper back. And when you're ready, you can shift a little bit more weight forward to your toes and just breathe into the back side of the body, big stretches to your hamstrings. This forward fold is also so good to help stimulate some elimination and digestion of your low belly drawn in, core engaged, but that pressure against your thighs can help to start moving some gas around. So if you feel that within yourself, don't be scared. Just allow it to happen. Relax and release as you want and need. We got a couple breaths left to go right here. So maybe you sink a little bit deeper here towards the end. Maybe more weight coming into your toes, an extra stretch of your hips up towards the ceiling. Remember, we're trying to take the rounding out of the back. So pulling that chest sternum forward and down. The top of your hairline is releasing towards the floor, not the top of your head. Last couple breaths right here. On your next inhale, hands can come to your shins or your thighs. Take that nice big half lift. We're going to wiggle our feet out wider, mats width distance apart, heels and toes out, and then release yourself down for a nice squat. You don't have to support yourself in the squat. You can slide those blocks to the back of the mat, whether they are on the sides or the high portion or the low portion. Both blocks together can be a little bit more space for some support, and then elbows come to your inner thighs. Sitting on the block is a great opportunity to allow your heels to release down towards the floor. Shoulders relax away from your ears. So once again, we're pulling our chest sternum forward and through. Shoulders down and back. We've got just over a minute to go here. Back to your slow, relaxed breath. You can even practice some ujjayi breathing here, a slight constriction of the throat, a gentle snoring sensation. And if you haven't already, begin working on exhale longer than inhale, keeping your nervous system feeling relaxed through your breath. No stretch should be so deep that your breath is limited. So if you find that that is the case, that you're holding your breath because the stretch is so intense, then do yourself a favor and do less. Sometimes less really is more. We're going to come back to that dangle one more time. We'll change up the dangle a little bit this next time though. So one more deep inhale while you're in your squat. And on your exhale, hands come down to the floor, send your hips back up towards the sky. You can shift your weights towards the top of the mat, heel toe your feet back in, hips width distance apart, and then take that gentle bend of your knees if you need to, low belly coming towards your thighs. We're gonna take a gentle bend in just one leg. So right now I have my right leg straightened, gentle bend in the left knee. Inhale your right arm high to the sky. And then bring your bent elbow, back of your hand to your low back. Work to find that nice flat back right here. You can rotate your chest to the side wall. I still have a bend in my left knee. Right leg is nice and straight, but instead of letting hips shift towards the side, a gentle squeeze of inner thighs in towards each other. We got about 1 minute to go. If you want more stretch, you can separate your hands and reach your hands in opposite direction, or just keep your hands on your low back, working to create that long spine. No rounding. If you extended your right arm to the sky, we're going to release the right hand back down to the floor. You can take it off of your back, and we're just going to switch those legs. So now a nice little bend in the right knee, straightening the left leg. One side might be a little harder than the other. So feel free to use this block when and how you need it. And then option to inhale, left arm up towards the sky, bend your elbow, bring the back of your hand to your back, find that nice flat back again. So on this side, right knee is bent, left leg is straight, nice big stretch throughout the left hamstring, into the left glute. Eye gaze can be wherever you want or need. If your shoulders crept up towards your ears, if that rounding came back into your back, a little gentle pull of your chest down and forward, a little extra bend of that one knee, low belly coming to your thighs. A couple more breaths to go here. Reminder, it's normal if you feel any sort of shaking or trembling. I know we're mostly focusing on the stretch in our legs, but my shoulders are tight. I'm feeling a little shake and tremble in that left shoulder, and it's not even doing anything besides having its hand relax on the low back. So stay with your breath. Don't be scared. If you did have your hand on your low back or stretched up towards the sky, let's release left hand back down towards the floor. Straighten both of your legs. Inhale into that half lift again. Nice flat back. Stretch your glutes back behind you. And then exhale down to your forward fold. Hands on the floor or a block. Heel toe your feet out, mats width distance apart again, and then lower yourself down for the squat. Maybe you can even place the blocks on a lower setting the second time through, or maybe you kept them just as high as you had them for last time. We've got another 1.5 minutes to go right here. Remember, if you come into a stretch today and it started off feeling great, and after a moment or two, you realize that's a little too much for me, then make an adjustment. Find your relaxation. Use your props right here. Let your breath be your guide. And then create a stretch that you can endure with stillness for as long as possible. 1 minute to go. Fantastic. I'd like to imagine you created the most magnificent stillness in that squat. Let's allow our hands to fall forward, coming off of the block. Bring your knees down to the floor. Move blocks out of the way and enjoy some cat-cow here. You can take some generous and gentle shifts and shakes through your hips. So you don't have to stick with just traditional cat-cow of rounding and flexing the spine. We're really trying to focus today on hitting those spots that are super tight for those of us who've been spending a lot more time in the office and at our desks. So we already got some big stretches into our hips, into our hamstrings. Let's take a moment and completely relax with a little bit of child's pose. We'll come back to this cat-cow in just a couple moments. In the meantime, whether your knees are together for a little bit more pressure into your low belly digestive system, or knees can be open wide, toes can come together, relax, release your head and hairline down towards the floor, wherever you want your arms to be, either extended towards the top of the mat, a generous bend, or complete relaxation with hands towards your feet. Every day is different. If you don't want your head all the way down to the floor, you can even place a block underneath of your head. But take some time here. We'll take these next 3 minutes to completely relax, release, send big breaths to the back side of the body for some child's pose. Excuse me. Okay. Bring your hands, palms back underneath of your chest, shoulders. We're going to press ourselves back up into tabletop. Walk your knees in a little bit closer. Take one more really slow cat. Full cycle of breath, pressing into your hands, palms, looking towards your knees, your belly button. And then one really slow cow, pulling chest forward and through, looking all the way up towards the ceiling, shoulders away from your ears, and then back to that neutral tabletop. Taking just a little more time here on our wrists, I want you to make some slow circles and bring the shoulders forward of your fingertips while pressing the base of the palm into the floor. So it might be a very small range of motion. Fingers still spread nice and wide. And I'm just changing the direction of my circles each time around. A couple more times through, just like this. If this is too uncomfortable for you, then please feel free to just enjoy some traditional cat-cow for a couple more breaths. Then we're going to change it up just a little bit. Keeping your right palm down on the floor, fingers towards the top of the mat. I want you to turn your left hand over. Left palm facing up towards you, fingers towards your knee. And from here, take one really nice slow cat, pressing the base of each palm towards the floor, where the palm and the forearm connect. And then one nice, really slow cow. Back to your neutral tabletop. Let's flip that left hand back over. Flip your right hand over. You don't have to have too much pressure on the hands. That is fingers facing towards your knee. Take your time here though. Find that really nice slow cat. Find that really slow cow. And then your neutral tabletop. Flip your right hand over. Go ahead, send your glutes back towards your heels. Let's take just a moment in kneeling. If kneeling is uncomfortable for you, you can always bring your block underneath of your glutes. I like to have the block wide underneath of the glutes. Just relaxing right here. Shoulders roll down away from your ears. Notice if there's a lot of arching in your low back. And if so, tuck your pelvis under. So we're trying to stack the head over the heart, over the hips. And you might have come into kneeling and thought, I am relaxed. But after a couple of breaths, start that scan of your body from head to toe and really notice if you're leaning forward or if you're leaning back, if weight is just to one side. A nice grounding through your sit bones, either towards the heels or to the block below you. We'll take a little work for the deep neck cervical flexor so fingers can relax down by your side. Turn your hands, palms forward, external rotation of the shoulders. Inhale your arms up overhead. And then interlace your fingers behind, behind your head. Both ends can come out nice and wide. And if you're anything like me and you're really tight, that created some rounding in your upper back. So once again, low belly draws in. Lift open your chest sternum. We're going to press our head into our hands. Elbows can open nice and wide. Shoulders still away from your ears. So especially on that exhale, find that pressure of the back of your head into your hands. On inhale, things might release just a little bit. One more full cycle of breath here. And then we'll create a side body stretch again. Separate your hands. Right hand comes down to the floor. or your block. Inhale that left arm up towards the ceiling. Once again, trying to stack your shoulders, lower center of gravity this time. So it might be a little easier to find that big side body stretch. Once again, eye gaze can be where you want it to be. So down to the floor can be a little easier. Nice stretch towards the back of the neck. Eye gaze forward or eye gaze up towards the ceiling for more of a stretch on the side of the neck. Find what feels right for you. We've got a couple breaths left to go, keeping these stretches somewhat shorter than the others, but a full minute and some change. On your next inhale, low belly pulls in. Support yourself as you inhale that right arm up overhead. And on your exhale, left hand comes down to the floor. Working to stack those shoulders. Find a spot to relax your eyes. Whole new side of the body, so it does not need to be the same stretch that you found on the opposite side. But work to create some length. Length of shoulders away from your ears and down your back. Length between your hands' palms as much as possible. On your next inhale, left arm reaches back up to meet with the right. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. Just another moment right here in your stillness. Low belly draws in to protect your low back. Shoulders rolled down and back, chest lifted and proud. So right here, we're also bringing a delightful stretch onto the top of the ankles and the feet. We'll take a moment and release that in just a few breaths. Crawl your hands back down to the floor in front of you, and you can move your block to the side. If your tops of the feet are really tired, taking some time to just tap the tops of the feet down to the floor and wake everything back up. And then on your inhale, we're going to press ourselves up into kneeling. If it's very uncomfortable under your back knee to be kneeling, you can always fold up your mat or towel. We're going to bring that right leg forward. And we're just coming into a 90 degree angle. No need to go any deeper. Hands can relax on your right thigh. Press your back knee down towards the floor. Squeeze your glutes, a little drive forward of your hips so you can start to feel an opening of that front side hip flexor, a little engagement in your back glutes. And try to take notice if you're leaning a lot to one side or the other. So a squeeze of your inner thighs in towards each other. And hands can stay right here on your top thigh. Or if you want a little bit more from the stretch, you can always release your hands back down towards the floor. I'm going to stay lifted here for one more minute. Still squeezing that back leg glute and pressing that back knee to the floor. We'll take a little bit of an extra Optional twist here for this last minute. So left hand can come to the outside of the right thigh. Rotate your chest and shoulders to the side wall. Right hand can even reach back towards your left foot. That right hip is still driving towards the top of the mat while the right shoulder is driving towards the back. Glutes squeezed, left knee pressing down to the floor. Ooh. Okay, bringing your right hand back to your thigh, turning your chest forward. Let's release hands down to the mat. Bring your right leg to meet with the left. Take that nice slow cat. A nice slow cow. And we'll relax in another child's pose. So knees can open wide. Toes can touch or stay right where they are. Send glutes back towards your heels. And simply breathe. Once again, hands can be wherever you want or need them to. Big breaths into the back side of the body. Complete relaxation here. One minute left to simply tune into your breath, enjoy some stillness, enjoy this relaxation, and then we'll take the opposite side for that hip opener. Okay. If you moved your hands away from underneath of your chest, bring them back. Go ahead, press yourself up. Draw your lower belly in, lift your chest up. And then let's bring the left leg forward, planting the sole of the left foot on the ground, finding that 90-degree stretch, a gentle engagement of your inner thighs towards each other so that our hips aren't leaning too much towards one wall or the other. Squeeze the back leg glute. Press your knee down to the floor. Hands can be on your thighs, or you can always come a little bit deeper into the stretch. Bring your hands to the floor if you want or need. We have just over a minute to go, as is, before we'll create that twist on this side. So chest and shoulders are towards the top of the mat, or squared with your mat to begin with for one more minute. Big breaths as we're opening and releasing that back leg and hip towards the floor. The more that you focus your eyes on one spot, the easier your balance is going to be. Keep your breath steady here. Okay, you can stay right here or bring the right hand to the outside of the left leg, shoulders rolled down and back, belly pulled in. Hips are still driving forward as you rotate through your chest and shoulder. Left hand can reach back towards your right foot. Doesn't need to find that right foot, just applying a little pressure. Taking that reach, shoulders away from your ears. Right glute is still squeezed, right knee is still pressed down to the floor. Take your time as we rotate back forward to center. Bring that left knee down on the mat. We're going to make our way onto our glutes and then lay down on our back. Any way you find it easiest for you to make your way onto your back. Take your time. There's no rush. Once you get there, draw your knees to your chest. Give yourself a nice massage of your back. You can rock gently side to side, massaging your whole back, your shoulders, just creating length in your spine. And then once you feel like your upper back, middle back are firmly planted on the mat, make those circles with your knees nice and small, a little massage into your low back. Draw your knees to your chest, stretch your elbows down toward your hips. With the back of your head still on the floor, tuck your chin to your chest. Create length through the crown of your head. Elbows stretching towards your hips, hips stretching towards the bottom of the mat, top of your head stretching towards the wall behind you. Little simulation of your transverse colon here. On your next exhale, release the soles of the feet down to the floor. Take a moment here. Feel free to windshield wipe your legs left and right. You can start off really slow. Maybe those windshield wipes get a little bit bigger. We've got 2 blocks today, so a great time and opportunity to use them for a quick supported reclined bound angle. So this windshield wipe is one more opportunity to warm up, release, relax the exterior of the hips. And then when you're ready, bring the soles of the feet together. I like to press into the pinky toe, knife edge of my feet to release the glutes a little bit. And if it doesn't feel great with your heels really close to your center line, if that's a lot of stretch on your inner thighs and your outer thighs aren't touching the floor, bring your blocks into play. They can be on an angle supporting yourself, or you can also allow your toes to come closer to the bottom of the mat. Completely relax the back of your head, the top and tips of your shoulders, your triceps, your mid back. Complete relax on the mat. And as we start to close out today's practice here in our final asana before Savasana, it's a wonderful time to turn and tune back into your affirmation if you chose one for today. And if you didn't choose one, it's never too late to set a positive intention for yourself or to simply reflect upon something from this week that brings you pride. Have you done something this week that thinking of it makes your heart swell? No matter how it went, did you do your best? Because I promise you that your best is enough. And if we all really tried and made an effort and we did our best, how wonderful the world could be if we just created compassion and kindness and appreciation for each other for the effort that we put out, no matter how things turn out. Because it really is the thought that counts. So bring some positive thoughts to your mind, to your heart, to your soul, and to your breath right now. Creating these big openings of the hips is a wonderful way to release stored emotions. So feel free to stay here in this recline bound angle for a lot or a little longer if you want. Otherwise, you can start to extend those legs nice and long. Perhaps heels touch and toes fall open. Maybe you open your legs a little bit wider. Arms can open wider, or one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Whatever feels right for you. As we close out today's practice. Reminder that this silent, reflective you time can be a part of your day, anytime. You don't need 45 minutes. Sometimes you just need one. Whether you close your eyes or find one spot on the wall to focus them and tune back into your breath, it's the perfect opportunity to take a moment to relax yourself, to contemplate the actions, the reactions that you will make moving forward. While we're out of time for today's practice, I hope you'll stay here in this final savasana for as long as you need, which might be longer than you want. Till we are together again, I thank you so much for coming and sharing your energy with the world around you and taking just a little bit of mine as well. Keep moving forward and thinking good thoughts. Create time in your day to speak good words to yourself and hopefully others. Eat good foods, do good deeds, and nourish yourself from the inside out because, reminder, you are worth it. You are worthy. There is no one better to be than yourself. And if no one has told you today, you are special. Keep being you. Keep showing up. Thank you so much. The light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within you. Have a wonderful rest of your practice, a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.